All right, hello people, and welcome in the hideout. This is AW. I found this very interesting video, the truth about male loneliness epidemic. Now, I've not been exactly a follower of this guy. His name is Ben Hoerman, Hoerman. So I've not been a follower of his. And so I'm interested to see what do people think about it. So I'm in the midst, I come from this environment, the so-called male loneliness. I come from it. I've been so many countries. Speak multiple languages, um, and I have a lot of men friends, a lot of a lot of friends who are male who have been struck by this. It's almost all of them, honestly, from many places even and to varying degrees. So, I come from the environment, I understand it very well. And so, I'm interested to see what is this guy is going to say? What angle is he going to tackle it from? Does he know, does he represent it well? Or, or is he going to fumble?
This is not a myth. While, yes, it's been shown that the rate of loneliness between women and men is basically the same, it's been studied and surveyed that men are generally struggling more with the loneliness. And no, just saying men need to open up more or that they simply need to go to therapy is not going to cut it.
His voice sounds European.
Sure, it's true to some extent.
I feel like if you take, I don't want to be this guy, but if you take Americans and you take Europeans side by side, to me, how it feels to me at least, that Europeans in general, men, guys, are more feminine than American men. So we'll see what this European guy is gonna say, and how it contrasts to like an American man and what an American man thinks.
But it would be narrow minded, kind of arrogant, and definitely patronizing. In most cases, your loneliness is not your fault. That ghost hunting.
Okay, now a first thing, from a guy, like you don't have any facial hair. Now there's nothing wrong with it, but like I don't know. It's like I would say as a man, you should have some facial hair. Like maybe he's way too young. Maybe it's that what it is. He's way too young and he's not growing any facial hair yet, which is understandable.
Is the result of a structure not only causing you alienation, but also benefiting from it.
That is true.
Loneliness is not a personal issue, but a structural one. So,
Yeah, I agree.
how does the actual matrix look like? And more importantly, who is profiting from your loneliness?
Hey everybody, drug industry, people, workplace, just the more lonely that you are, meaning that you have no connection, so you can be more dependent on the state, you can be dependent on big tech, on big pharma, you can be dependent. See, when you're alone, you have less leverage on the government and on the state and on everybody almost. The more friends you have, the more community that you have, the less isolated you are and the less dependent you are on, on all the institutions created by the big guys. Let's just call it that.
Why do we feel offended when women are talking about independence or when we hear statements like, we don't need men, or I don't need a man in my life?
You need us.
Why are
So this is the first thing I disagree with. I never felt offended when women say they need independence. Like, what is there to be offended about? It's, all right, you want independence. Like, I don't get this point. I never got offended. I don't think I met guys who, I met maybe one person who gets offended, but this guy, he's been hurt so much. Like, he's been so lonely, and so he's like, his mental state is not in the right place. Let's just put it that way. But if you're a reasonable guy, you would not be offended by a woman saying, I want to be independent. What is wrong with that? Like the seeking of independence, seeking of liberty is a core human value. And as an American, I believe that everybody has a right to have liberty and independence.
So many reacting with, oh, look at that entitled, self-centered. And yes, I'm talking about you as well, you.
So far, he's all over the place. What does that have to do with that? Yeah, so the entitlement is off-putting, you know. But what does it have to do with the first statement, which is her wanting independence? These two things are ironically independent of each other.
Hot fanboy beta performative male twink. Hey, I'm hot? Looking at the traditional
What?
family structure, it's obvious that a clear codependency exists. The husband is meant to get food on the table, while the wife does care work at home.
Yeah,
A woman's main goal
that's
in
fair.
life used to be finding the perfect man who can provide, care for, or protect her
Hmm.
in exchange for her service. Men were the heroes of society that were looked up to. The nuclear family ideal.
To me, this is not ideal. This might be an ideal thing to people who live in the West because they have never had anything. They've never had it, right? But for me and for many people around the world, the ideal is what is called the extended family. You see, the ideal is not to have a nuclear family, but the extended family. But this take a lot of work. It takes a lot of education because it's been destroyed so bad by the Western paradigm.
Having a woman on your side is like a proud achievement and confirmation of your manhood that has been taught to us ever since we can think of.
I don't know where he was bringing that from. An achievement of my manhood? I don't know. I don't never looked at it that way. I think most guys are simpler than that. They're just lonely and they have needs that need to be met. You know, you're a human being, right? You have needs. You need to eat, you need to breathe, you need to drink water, and you need connection. You have body needs if you catch my drift, right? He's thinking about it way too much, I think, in this sentence.
Not only by our social circles, but also by movies or advertising. This is also why a lot of men feel proud of
This, like all the guys he's featuring here, almost now, like most of them look so gay. Ironically, again.
having, let's say, a high body count, a wife, or being rich. And I'm not saying that with any judgment whatsoever. This is simply the socialization we grew up with. So our identity is heavily dependent on romantic or sexual relationships. That has always been an
I disagree, man. I think I don't know. He's so far. I don't know if I mean, I'll try to continue the whole video, but it came to a bad start. It was. This is like, this is like a female look into the situation. Like this guy, he doesn't have a guy mentality at all. He's not looking at it from a guy mentality. I'm not sure if he is gay, if he is feminine, what is up with this guy, or is it just like a European thing? But yeah, I just like I he's out of touch to me, it seems like.
essential part of what it means to be a man on romantic or sexual relationships. That has always been an essential part of what it means to be a man or woman. I'm only whole if a woman or a man recognizes and validates my being. But times are changing. This supposed traditional utopia has been exposed as nothing but a romanticized lie.
Oh, here we go. You see? Oh, what you think is actually a good thing is actually a bad thing. You should never want it because it was really bad. Let's continue to see if I'm right about that or not. It's a feminist propaganda dressed up as pro men or trying to understand men. My guess is this does not want to understand men at all. Just pure feminist propaganda, and is gonna fuel more hate. But I'm guessing this guy already have a feminine audience. Not to say there's female audience, but feminine men, psychologically castrated men.
While women are finally reaching their independence, many men are still stuck on the promise that women desperately needed men to be happy. But neither do
Again, this is false.
They, nor do you. Men being hurt and angered by statements like these not only
Again, I don't know where he's bringing that from.
exposes our codependency, but also our inability to move on, wanting to be desired and loved.
Okay, let's go to the next segment. So I understand what is he trying to say here. Let's just try to let's just go here.
For exploitation.
Exploitation. Let's see what exploitation is about.
In my previous videos, I've made the mistake of not explicitly differentiating grifters and participants. I want to clarify that it was all directed towards the grifters, not minimizing or talking down your life experiences.
Dude, men are fucking lonely, bro. People don't seem to understand that. 77% of men. Stop being a depressed piece of shit. It's a choice.
What I failed to highlight was how disgustingly deceptive the grift is, using small truths as treasonous ways to shove conspiracies and shit down your throat in the hope of you buying the overpriced.
Despite me disagreeing with him on a lot of things, he's partially correct about this. Many people, most of these figures, it's not, they're talking a lot of, so all of these figures, so he's wrong in a sense that these are not 100% wrong, but he's correct in a sense that they're not, but they are grifting to a certain point. Jordan Peterson, what was his name? Myron. All of these people, they are they're not very truthful. They try to tell people what they like to hear, but these people are too successful. They don't necessarily understand what does it mean to be a young man right now. So they cannot possibly understand it, and so they just tell men what they want to hear for the most part. They do not offer solutions. They're in it just for the money. Their heart is not into it as much as they like to claim. However, they're 100, 200 times better than this guy, who is psychologically castrated.
Online courses on how to get rich fast, self-help programs, or predatory dating advices that the Matrix doesn't want you to know. Not only harnessing your loneliness, pain, anxieties, or insecurities, but also amplifying them. Because your actual growth as a person is simply bad business for them. You've been reminded that your masculinity has to be proven. It is a hustle. Your body, your work, your money.
Well, in the male world, it is sort of, you see, having high testosterone, right? In almost all mammals, if not all of them. Heck, even in some birds, you put a rooster with a flock of hens, and then you have another rooster. If they meet each other, they're gonna fight to the death, basically. You see, the testosterone in general, it boosts this behavior of being a competitor. You're in a competition. This is a very normal, natural, healthy male behavior to love to compete, to view the world in a lens of competition. This is very healthy. This is very normal. This is very natural. It's very good, actually, if you put that to the correct use, right? So if you have a man that loves to compete, who's a scientist, he will compete with other scientists to make the best invention. If you have a bunch of astronauts, they could compete on who can reach the moon faster. You see, these are very positive things. They're not bad. To be a competitive man is healthy, natural, and is needed. And guys like these and thoughts like these, propaganda like this, it's what's contributing to the loneliness of men and them being alienated from their nature.
Your intelligence, your status, everything needs to perform. This
Yeah, they need to. They actually need to. You need to perform as a man. This is just how the reality of the world is. I can attest to it, and if you're a man, you can attest to it. If you were born, in a situation where it was made clear to you from a younger age, which is most men really, unless that you were born in a, even if you're born in a rich environment. This is a thing though. People think that if your dad makes a lot of money, you're automatically set. That is not correct, because boomers are controlling and narcissistic people. So this they would the more money that they would have, they would expect you to be 100% controlled by them in order for them to bless you with their riches. So being born to a rich man even is not a guarantee. So as a man, you're faced with the world trying to control you and curb you and stomp you from early on usually. And so yeah, you would need to perform. You would need to get there somehow. And this is the growth. This is from your. This is what happens from your 20s to your 30s. If you could do that even earlier, it's for the better. If you discover it at 14, this is what you should teach your son actually. If you have a son, at 14 you have to let him know. You have to make him understand somehow how this world works, so he starts working on it from an early age. So by the time he's in his 20s, he's 25, he has reached a very good place, that he has a head start, that he learned a lot of stuff about how the world works from an early age.
Is a competition.
It
Anyone
is a
who falls
competition.
back isn't worthy of being a man. Fuck. Apparently, you actually deserve to feel that pain. To be lonely, to be broke, to have nobody in your life.
Get back to fucking work.
Work harder, 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 and harder.
He's somewhat correct about this part. See, I don't agree with it. Obviously, I disagree with most of the things that he says, but this part, he's actually true. He is right about it. That he's mocking this thing where it's like men need to work harder and harder. Yeah, men don't need to work as much harder. This is killing us to a big extent because we're put into a situation where we have to work ourselves to death in order to get our needs it's satisfied. This is not supposed to be the status quo. Now somebody could say, what do you do? Well, it's up to you. You can do anything that you want. You don't have to do what they ask you to do. This is the trick. And then somebody says, well, I won't have a roof over my head. This if you're a person like, see, nothing is as bad as people making it sound. Nothing. Not being homeless, everything is in essence is fine, right? Society keeps doing that to you. They don't want you to do what you want to do because they're interested in their bottom line. You see, if they have unhealthy workers, if everybody is, not being productive, then the supply and the demand for employees messes up. They don't have enough employees to cover, and so they would have to pay them more. So yeah, we are being worked to death with this kind of culture of work, 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 work. You need to take days off. You need to rewind. You need to do something that actually. Here is the trick. If you like as a man, if you're a man right now watching me, this is a very good advice for you, right? You want to get you want to get money, you want to get riches, you want to get higher in the society. Do not work something that you hate. Only do that until it reaches you to a point where you can work something that you love. What I mean by that is that see what do you actually do already. So, do you like talking? Do you like watching stuff? Do you like doing math? Do you like doing science? Do you like I don't know, working with children? It don't matter. So everybody's into something, right? So and then get that something that you already like and figure out how you can monetize it, right? And you will grow. It might take a while, but this, if you do it consistently, it will grow and you will be a very successful person. The idea is not that you have to, work and do it either way and this and that. No, 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 no. The idea is that you do things out of love, that you do something that you already love. You're just being monetized for it. So he's correct sort of about this point that this culture is actually toxic, and yes, you should be working hard but not forever, just to get you to a point where you can do the things that you like doing while being monetized.
The biggest tragedy behind this flaccid theater play is
Hmm.
the irony. Talking about the male loneliness epidemic, pointing at the high suicide rate among men,
Hmm.
how difficult being a man is.
Yeah, I mean, if he's gonna keep hammering this point, he's correct about it. I don't like to hear more than what is needed. If this is his point, then this is okay. Um, yeah, I understand. Let's go halfway just to make sure if he has any other points.
King matcha latte. Men are the breadwinners of the family. You just have to work hard enough to provide for your family.
Yeah, he just keeps hammering this point. So I already responded to it. He's in a way right. This is a mindset of how to get you to a slave for forever. The correct thing is to work to a point where you can afford to do what you want to do and monetize it. That it doesn't feel like work because it isn't work. Like if you're a person who likes to draw and you do it to rewind. Now imagine you're this act of you rewinding is getting you money. You can keep doing it for like 16 hours a day every day because you love it. That's already you love doing that. You don't force yourself to draw. You just love it so much. You just monetize it. So, I don't want to keep hearing from this point. Let's go to the next point. The real matrix.
Everything is just so exhausting. On top of dealing with an identity crisis, the fear of never finding a girlfriend or being constantly told how to perform, you're also constantly afraid of your future or your financial stability. You're
Okay, I need to go to the restroom really quick and come back. So, alright, I'm back.
stuck in your never ending 9 to 5 job that feels empty and won't help you grow.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit because so he was speaking about this fear about not having a girlfriend and not escaping your 9 to 5 job. But let's just make
Of
sure.
never finding a girlfriend or being constantly told how to perform. You're also constantly afraid of your future or your financial stability. You're stuck in your never ending 9 to 5 job that feels empty and won't help you grow as a person. No wonder everyone feels alienated. Why should I go outside when I'm
Okay, he's starting correct about that, but I'm interested to see where is he gonna go with that.
already exhausted or broke? I've outsourced my social life to Discord, Instagram, Tinder, or whatever because it's easier that way. Or I'd rather watch an overlong video essay on the men's crisis for the 20th time. Thank you. The hustle culture falls right into this trap. Men are more willing to overwork or sell their labor for steady wages because they believe both in work being a masculine trait and in the possibility of becoming the next trillionaire. But it isn't just the economic market here. Everything is a market now. Masculinity, relationships, intimacy, hobbies, sports, education, art, even fucking time itself. Everything is a commodity. The worst part, that means everything becomes a competition. A cutthroat dog-eat-dog society that only benefits the few. But hey, don't worry, it's the blue-haired feminist you should be worrying about. It is the logical consequence to hide or repress your emotions if you were not only socialized to believe men are competing with each other in basically everything, but also that the stoic, confident, rational, cold, and successful father figure in the nuclear family model is the ultimate goal you should strive for. If not showing weakness and asserting dominance is supposedly necessary to stay on top of a competitive hierarchy in a man's world, then violence becomes a reaction attempting to regain control during situations of powerlessness. That isolation and loneliness are the ideal breeding ground for hatred and nihilism is, I believe, something we are all aware of. Nevertheless, I must emphasize once again that this hatred is not only fueled by shady online incel communities, but is also heavily politicized by right-wing extremists.
Echte Männer sind rechts.
Recruiting men for the military may be a form of universal state exploitation, but the almost fetishistic emphasis on order, discipline, and healthy, strong male bodies belongs solely to fascism. For example, in the Republicans' political playbook, Project 2025, it states, families comprised of a married mother, father, and their children are the foundation of a well-ordered nation and healthy society. The male-female dyad is essential to human nature, and every child has a right to a mother and father.
I agree with this statement that he just said. Now, this is very truth mixed with falsehood here. So at the beginning, he started off correctly. Um, that that so you got the big powers at play. You got the oligarchy is, as I said before, is they're controlling the population, and they want people to slave for forever, and everything has been commodified. He is very correct about that, and this is not conducive to anything. Now he seems to be going into like more socialism there, and I don't really have an opinion on socialism per se, because I um I don't I think the problem is the lack of spirituality. I think the problem is more basic than if it's socialist or like capitalist. I think to be too materialistic is bad. Is everything is everything is a commodity. Everything is material. There has been a lack of spirituality. There has been a lack of tradition. There has been a lack of God, if you could say that, and that's what I feel is what's lacking. So, because everything is a commodity, then that breaks spirituality, and if there is no spirituality, values that are essentially spiritual, such as love, start to break down. So
20th time worrying about. It is
but he's saying there, oh, don't, but so this is what the truth is. Now the falsehood is like, oh, but don't worry about the the blue-haired feminists, blah blah, because they're not doing this, they're not doing that to you. No, they kind of are, but to be honest here, it's not the feminists itself, it's not the ladies who are dyeing their hair blue, it's not them, it's the men on top, this oligarchy. See, the truth is the society is not controlled by women, it's controlled by men who control women, who control the rest of the men. You see, when see like if you are looking at nature per se, this happens all the time. When a male dominates so much, he puts his woman above other men. So let's say you're a male lion and you have a pride of lionesses, if you can say that. Now, when a new male lion is born, his status is lower than the female lions. Why? Because the dominant man, the dominant male in a group, wants to get any other competition as far away from them and as low as they can get them to be. So right now in our society, this the dominant men who can have any woman that they want is out of your sight. They're so far away from you that you can't see them. You might not know their name, but they put the woman in the form of feminism to be over you. You see, the legal system and the social norms, everything put women above men. And this is for the layman. So for most people, for most men, like more than 50% of men, they fall lower than women. Now, if you're somewhat successful, you can have your like somewhat of a fair share. You can but so so the hierarchy goes like this: the oligarchy, then women, they're women, which is which the women are basically married to the state, whether that they like it or not. Um, and then in between them, there's some subgroup of men who could make it a little bit further, and then the rest of the men. So this is what the situation actually looks like right now. So it's not the fault of the feminist women, it's whoever is pushing that crap, which are usually men and older women who are jealous and have many forms of mental issues. Let's say um, if you meet older women who are upset and resentful, they don't like to see other women get what they don't have. This happens more than you think it does. But yeah, but so the incorrect that no, we should be worried about that. Actually, we should fight against that. We should fight against feminism in the form that its stand is right now, we should have, male men and women rights should be there. Men should not be able to abuse women at the home. I'm not saying that. There should be things should be fair. you know. But this is not fair at all. Men are at the bottom of the hierarchy. We are considered nothing. You know, if you're a man, you're in your late 20s. You go talk to a random woman in Walmart or wherever, right? You're considered a it's like a disgusting thing. It's like she's seen a rat. This is what happens usually, unless you're very known, rich, popular, or might be extremely good looking. But like but to be good looking, you would need to have time and money, for most of the time at least. But yeah, let's see the last point that he's gonna make, the red pill. My guess he's gonna go against it, right?
Structural influence shape choices, but agency still matters. Self awareness or structural influence don't absolve anybody from anything. Most of us are adults with full autonomy. Our decisions have been made by us. But society isn't an excuse. I'm responsible for my actions and have to face the consequences. What's been done has been done. What I said has been said. We can either learn from it or not.
Man, this is a guy with the biggest nostrils I've ever seen. Like his nostrils are like so big, and it must be so nice to be able to breathe very smoothly.
That decision can only be made by yourself, of course. Self reflection and self criticism.
Man, I just want to say I'm sorry to stop way too much, but this fake smile, I hate it. Like to be like this, doing it's just so phony, man. Come on, maybe it's so this phony. This is why you're losing.
can only be made by yourself, of course. Self reflection and self criticism is what actual Stoicism is. But at the same time, we need to allow others to grow and to forgive. Allowing the possibility for redemption is necessary to break from a competitive society.
But
Warning about the male loneliness epidemic, while simultaneously telling men to just suck it up and be a fucking man, is ironic. One of many reasons why women see
this is the thing. He's not very wrong about that. It's just that he's using that argument to advance his agenda. You see, it's so freaking. This is a very like a feminine succubus way of of arguing. It's very like this, very deceptive. Very like it's not to the point. And it's obviously he's pushing feminist agenda here.
to cope better with the loneliness is the higher number in deep non romantic relationships. This is only possible if we allow ourselves to open up more and actually talk about things that are personal or build platonic relationships. Talking is, of course,
Ew, there is no such a thing, a platonic relationship. See, if you're a guy and you see, if you're a woman watching this, this is, I don't know if this is news for you. You might have heard it, but if you're a guy, you know this. You know this, and if you're saying otherwise, you're either psychologically castrated as well. You're brainwashed. Um, but if you're not, then you will know this as clear as day. You will not, you will not be spending your time with a woman that you don't find in at least one way, shape, or form attractive. You would not. You would spend this time with a male friend. If she was not in any shape or way attractive, you will not spend time with her. Now, that naturally results in you wanting more out of her, and that gets you stuck, and that's how you end up in the friend zone. But to people like this, and like the females, like, oh no, this is a platonic relationship. This is how this crap happens. Now, this is not 100%. This is like 95%, 99%. Um, but yeah, so there is no such a thing. Almost there is no platonic relationship between men and women. It's usually one party that wants more and the other party does not want to give more. It's taking advantage from the first party who is addicted to them. It's very evil stuff, you know. But this is what tells you that you should stay away from such women. It doesn't matter how nice they're portraying themselves, how good-hearted they are. How does it matter if she is keeping you in this limbo and she's fine with it? She's not a good person. You just gotta let her go. She is not a good person. Doesn't matter how good she's acting in other aspects. Doesn't matter. She's not a good person. She knows what she's doing and she doesn't mind it. She doesn't want to even hear about your pain. You know, when you tell her that this is paining you, she will be like she will shut you down real quick. She's has zero interest in how you feel like if you're in pain. She has interest in how she can feel better. So this is just a reminder. So if you're a young guy, know this. If you're a guy about my age, you already know this. If you're a psychologically castrated person, please wake up.
Is only one of many ways to improve your mental health. Working out, distraction, movies, cooking, working, whatever. Socializing, self-help and therapy is essential and needed. But that's not everything. Demanding social, structural and political change is necessary as well.
Okay, he is also correct about that. Socializing is a good thing. Try to socialize, except that it's, as I explained right now, it's not an available option. You cannot meet people because you're like a grown up man. You're the creep. You're the danger. You're the stranger danger. You know, um, so well, so if my YouTube channel grows and if you guys do support me, if I get a support, I will try to make a community, for men to help men, so we can help each other, all of us, especially, but in relation to younger like the Gen Z men, because I, I have struggled through this and I have reached a lot of heights of understanding what's going on, and I have many solutions, way to go about things, and I just need a platform. I just need enough attention so that I could attract enough people so that I can create this group, which hopefully is going to be an overall good to the world. And instead of listening to this freaking guy.
Well, material change is needed to unload stress and anxieties. Having values is crucial. Being emotionally strong and developing a backbone to pursue those values, even more so. It's just so important for you to ask yourself whether those values are coming from inside you or being put on you externally.
Uh,
How much of
that is also good advice.
it is coming from social pressure? And yes, even feminine twinks like myself believe in protecting, caring for, or providing for the people I care about. But protecting from what exactly? Sure, the world can be hostile, but living in constant fear and competitiveness turns your neighbors into potential targets you have to watch out for or dominate.
He's actually correct about that. This needs to be regulated. You see, you spend some time in competition and you spend some time at rest. You cannot be like that all the time because it makes a, like, if you have a fast car, that don't mean that you have to be driving it 24/7 because it's gonna break down, right? If you want a fast car to keep running fast, you have to maintain it. Part of maintaining it is to have it not run. And just as he's saying, he's correct. Like the socialization, meditation, all these things are not bad. They're good for you, but it's everything is in moderation. And then once you start to try to do stuff like that and trying to experience about how do you maintain yourself, you will figure it out on your own. Everybody is a little bit different. Somebody might need 10% of their time in meditation or in prayer. Some people might need 20%, 50%, 5%. Everybody is a little bit different, so everybody gotta try what works out for them.
In a performative market. Solidarity has no gender. I believe it's our solidary duty to
What does that even mean? Solidarity have no gender. It's not necessarily about gender, but it's like you see, so female issues, right? Like if I come to a female, just like as Bill Burr said, you know, when in the third trimester, you ladies are gonna feel the pressure. Like how would I know? I've never been pregnant. Why do you think it's a good idea for somebody who is not from my gender to give advice about a problem that only my gender experiences? It's not gonna be, and you should not be listening to such people. Um,
care for each other and to overcome that self-destructive cycle of competition.
okay, small hippy dippy kind of crap. Again, it's a very smart propaganda. He's putting some truth with some falsehood to trying to get you on his train, which is not a good train. I tell you that much. It's sub subversive. It's a subversive way. So he's exploiting. It's kind of ironic and funny that he spoke about exploitation. He's exploiting you too. Both of these parties are trying to exploit you for their political agenda. They're not really interested in your own well being. It's because they don't understand it. You see, for somebody to help you out, they need to have sympathy for you. They need to be giving, and part of that is if you've been through the pain. If you've been through the pain enough, you might develop this feeling that you like to help somebody else out of that because you hate this evil so much that you want to fight it. That is what should be driving you. Otherwise, you're driven by money, you're driven by all the women around you who demand money. You're driven by status, you're driven by worldly things that are not authentic at the beginning. You're not going to be a real person like that. You're always going to be fake, you're always going to be schizoid. So, this is my response, I guess. It became a response. I didn't know how is this going to be like, but as this is my response to what's his name? Ben Hoerman, the truth about the male loneliness epidemic. I would just call it a feminist propaganda. All right, so if you guys enjoyed this, let me know. If you have different opinions, also let me know. Um, so yeah, and if you don't like it, put a dislike. If you like it, put a like. If you have comments of any sort, let me know. And stay strong and don't budge.